Hello, welcome to Dr. Tumor Talks, and thank you for joining in. I have a question for you. So, many people who tune in and watch me are here because they want to be healthy, and many times because they want to lose weight. They want to learn more about how to do that. But I'm going to flip it on you a little bit today because honestly, trying to lose weight is probably one of the most unhealthy processes for us. When you think of the biopsychosocial entity that we are, trying to lose weight often just shifts us out of health, either biologically, psychologically, or socially. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So, I'm Dr. Catherine Toomer. For those of you tuning in for the first time, I am a family medicine and community health physician and founder of Total Weight Care Institute. And I help people lose weight. Either it's the weight that is in pounds, or it is the weight that is weighing them down in life, or whether that weight is for the individual, or whether it's a practitioner who wants the freedom, financial freedom, and time autonomy that I enjoy, and they want to learn how I've done it. So I wear a lot of little hats. I'm also a mom, a wife, a Labradoodle Wrangler. So, um, so one of the reasons say that losing weight is unhealthy, or if you want to be healthy, stop losing weight. It's really because weight should not be the focus. When we focus on trying to lose weight, essentially, sometimes what we do is we kind of tell ourselves that there's something wrong, that we're flawed, that we're imperfect in some way, and that's just absolutely not true. That's not psychologically healthy, and it's not psychologically sound. The other with trying to lose weight, we often change our behaviors in a way that affect those around us. And it sends the wrong message often to our children who start seeing food as the enemy or start seeing body size as something undesirable. When in fact, one of the most beautiful processes in life, which is having children, creates largeness. Our body needs to grow. When it grows another human being, our body shape changes. And so often we associate that, we should associate it with the miracle that it is and celebrate it. And we do on one hand, but then on the other hand, you know, you often hear so much being said about the weight gain that comes with um, pregnancy. And so we just focusing on weight really does not lend itself to health. And so what I'm going to talk about though is fat loss. It's the fat in our body that is unhealthy. It's the fat in our body that we should lose. We can lose weight easily by starving. We can lose weight by losing muscle. That's not necessarily healthy. But losing fat, however, is. Fat in our body does a lot of things. It's an organ in and of itself. And as many of us know who have been overweight, who have been obese, who have, tried to lose that fat, we know it sometimes has a life of its own and a mind of its own. And it may seem like it does. And actually, biologically, it does. And so what fat does in our body, it puts out hormones that send signals to our brain. It sends signals to other organs in the body and tells them what to do. But how fat is created is really through carbohydrates. It's through insulin interacting with insulin going up, which is a hormone, goes up, and it tells our body to take the carbohydrates that we've eaten and turn it into fat for whatever reason, either because our brain thinks we're starving and therefore tries to store as much fat as possible, or because there's a lot of stress and therefore insulin's not working very well, so it doesn't get glucose into the brain cells that signal our brain that we've eaten and to tell us to stop. And so what it does is keeps telling us to eat more and more and more and more because of insulin resistance, which is essentially insulin in our body goes up when we eat carbohydrates and our blood sugar goes up. That blood sugar, the insulin acts like a key to get the blood sugar into the cell. In our brain only uses two things to function: glucose and ketones. I'm not going to get into the ketones today. I'll talk about that another day. But with glucose, when glucose gets into the cells of our brain, it tells our brain to our brain tells the rest of the body to stop eating, or sends signals, okay, I've got my food, I've got my drug, so to speak, and you can stop eating. However, when we have insulin resistance, that insulin is not going to the it's not working on the cell in a way so that that glucose can get into the cell and give that signal to the brain that you've eaten. And so what happens is that you just keep eating and eating. You crave carbohydrates, you crave glucose because your brain keeps sending a signal. I'm not getting enough food. I'm not getting enough food. I'm not getting the signal I need to tell you to stop eating. And so you just eat and eat, you crave, you crave. And that's why I keep trying to say that when people gain weight, it's not because of a flaw. It's not because they have no willpower or no discipline. It is simply hormonal and biological. Now, what that does to us psychologically is a totally different thing, and most of that is societal. What it does to us socially, again, is societal and not, and it all feeds on itself. And so the reason that it's so important to focus on fat loss and not weight loss is because that is actually a biologic process that can be reversed. And it is a biological process that you can control. And it's a biological process that has nothing to do with any type of personality weakness that we've been told, or lack of discipline or lack of willpower. It's simply learning how to control the hormonal process that creates fat so that we can reverse it. So again, the way we lose weight, eliminate that altogether. Focus on losing fat. And you lose fat by stopping its production and then reversing its production. And the way you do that is by controlling insulin and how well insulin is used in the body. And I'm just going to give you a few reasons of ways that you can do this. Number one, keep stress under control. If your stress is high, you will have insulin resistance, and it will affect your brain in a way that will make you hungry and it will make you crave carbs. And when you eat carbohydrates, your body makes fat. Number two is, as you create more fat, unfortunately, it starts this really nasty feedback mechanism of trying to make more and make more and make more. So the key is to stop it. And the way to stop it is the easiest way to stop it is with medication. And that medication is GLP-1, like Ozempic. Well, actually now Wegovy is the weight loss version, or Manjaro, Zepbound, Victoza, Saxenda. Those all are medications, and what they do is they help the body use insulin more effectively so that it glucose gets into the brain gets the message that you've eaten, it sends the message back to the rest of your brain and to everywhere else. Okay, I've got the food I need. You can stop eating now. And so stress, medication, and the third is muscle. Muscle is a wonderful organ to help prevent insulin resistance and improve the body's use of insulin so that messages get into all the cells that it's supposed to in order to regulate the body in the way it should. And then once it does that, fat cells like, oh, well, I don't need to hold on to this energy anymore because it's going into the cells, it's going into your brain, and so it starts to release itself. Now, something you need to keep in mind, another hormone that acts in this process is also estrogen. Our body fat cells tend to hold on to estrogen. That's in men and in women. So as you lose fat, that estrogen does get released and can cause all sorts of changes in the body. It can change how your body menstruates. It can change how you feel during menopause or premenopause. In men, it can change their it can cause erectile dysfunction. It can cause also mood changes. It's just, it's a estrogen is a hormone that just changes a lot of things in the body. And so there is a process, there is a point where sometimes things get worse before they get better, but it still always gets better. So I have a question about it is safe for everyone. And I'm assuming the it is the GLP-1 medication. Um, yes. Well, no. I mean, it's nothing's safe for everybody. You can't say absolutes. However, it's a very safe medication for most people, especially those who need it. I can tell you this, the medication is a whole lot safer than having excess fat in your body. Excess fat in your body, we already know, causes all sorts of secondary problems. When you have excess fat in your body, it also surrounds organs, including your heart. Your liver can get fatty. Our liver is what's used to get toxicity and toxins out of our blood. So when it's not functioning properly, those toxins stay around and cause all sorts of issues. And so um, anything that helps your body lose the endocrine organ that is adipose or fat is always helpful, and GLP-1s help do that. Now, the key though is when you have problems with GLP-1s, it's usually because they're being used inappropriately or they're not being monitored very well. And as long as they're being monitored well by a physician who's well versed in how they're used, and also when they're used according to how they are prescribed, then yes, they are safe. And I can tell you they're a whole lot safer than walking around with glucose dysregulation and excess adipose or fat in your body, because fat in and of itself causes all sorts of issues, inflammation, um, or it decreases how efficient organs work in our body. It and so yes, it's not safe for everybody, but that is something to be determined by your physicians. But so again, I'm just going to reiterate, losing weight isn't necessary and it's not always healthy. Like I say, you can take crack and lose weight. That doesn't mean it's healthy. But however, if you lose adipose in a healthy way or for health reasons, that's different. That is healthy, because what our body does with adipose, it causes all sorts of, now some we need, obviously, when we're reproducing and when we often have extra stores for when we get ill so that our body can use those stores to keep us alive. But for the most part, excess adipose is not beneficial. It can cause health issues, and that should be the focus on any health process, is to lose fat, not lose weight. So again, I'm Dr. Catherine Toomer. I am the founder of Total Weight Care Institute. And if you're somebody who wants to understand what's going on biologically, psychologically, or even socially as to why maybe you're having difficulty losing weight or why you're suddenly gaining weight and you can't figure out why, give me a call. You can call either my office, 803-226-9010, and they'll make an appointment for me to call you. Or you can just send me a message here on Facebook or through my website. There's so many different ways you can contact me, and I do give free consultations because I want to make sure that you understand what's going on so you know who to talk to. And just so you know, I do not take insurance. So my first push is to get you with someone who does take insurance and give you some guidance as to what needs to happen with those doctors. Now, if you don't have access, then of course we'll talk and we'll figure something out. But the other thing that I'm doing, because there are so many people who need help, who don't have access to doctors, who understand this process, I'm also teaching physicians. So if you are a clinician and you have patients who are trying to lose weight and you're not sure what to do with them, talk to me. If you're a clinician and you're getting tired of working really hard and not getting reimbursed in the way that you feel you should be, or you want more financial freedom, which is fine as a physician. It's okay to earn and serve at the same time. So if you're someone who wants to have financial freedom and you want time autonomy, also talk to me, because that's something I've done and that's something I also share. Because The world needs us. It needs us as gatekeepers, and it needs uh, many people out there need to be kept because that's our job. So, all right. Well, thank you for joining in. I'll be here again next Tuesday for Dr. Toomer Talks. And of course, if you have any questions about what I've spoken about, or if you have questions about anything that's health, wellness, weight loss related, weight health, weight care related, then please put your questions in the comments or a send me a message. I love getting topics. It helps me know what to talk about. Everything I talk about today, every single Tuesday, are topics that came up during the week of somebody saying something that kind of triggered the topic. So today was actually triggered by a conversation I had about 3 o'clock today. And so you just never know. So if you have anything that you'd like to hear more about, just let me know and I'll share my knowledge. All right. Good night. And thank you for coming in. Thank you, CL King. Oh, man, you're amazing too. And we got to talk because I love being on your show. And always, Cynthia, thank you for coming, for your support. Thank you, Inga, for your questions. I really love getting questions. Thank you. There's some people here who I can't see who they are, just as Facebook user. Well, I appreciate you coming in too. So good night.